Yeah, I mean, this is a very relatively standard-ish thing. Uh, well, not for interviews. I feel like I haven't done anything combinatorial except for dynamic programming combinatorial in interviews in a while. Uh, I mean, I think these are things that are kind of fun, but then also now it's in more and more libraries, so like people ask them less and less. Maybe that's my general feeling. Let me know. Well, but basically, what you want to do. Oh, I guess there is a tricky one where it loops back. But yeah, but basically, you just. Um, yeah, I mean, this is so. I mean, I think for an interview question, this is so weird in that way because I feel like there's one of those things where like okay, like in theory, you could definitely prove to yourself or whatever, like do a proof during the interview or something like that. But I feel like this is also like a well-known ish enough that does that work even in Python? Anyway, um, well-known ish enough that people will what you got like the people who know how to do it would it be like so much more like it's such an advantage that is so weird. Uh, but but yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what I have to say. So I think the also I'm trying to think about how to do it in Python because manipulating list uh, in place in Python is always a little bit weird for me because some of that is that uh, in general like in place stuff is always uh, I mean sometimes you want into space considerations, but usually you don't have to. And in those cases, just try to help with the swap. But yeah, but um, but yeah, in those cases, or like it's very rare that you're limited by space, especially when you do stuff like this. And in those cases, you better keep things stateless as much as possible when you write like helper functions and stuff like this. But that's why I don't know. I'm personally a little issues with this, but yeah. Hmm. How do I want to doing it? Also, to be honest, I haven't done this in a while, just because uh, it is a standard in different libraries. So I figured I should at least try a little bit. But the idea is kind of to find, yeah, it's something that you can use a library. Um, you want to move the, you want to take two things that are, how do I, I'm trying to say, think a way to say it mathematically precise. But you try to find like um, two numbers to the right as most as possible that are in order and then make them out of order, something like that. Um, it's either the first or the last. I always forget. Oh, lexicographically next greater. Um, yeah, so you want to take the last two numbers that are not in order or in order and then make them not in order. And keep on doing it as much as you can. Um, but it is, yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, and if you do it in like in this case, if you're just doing it once, maybe it's okay. Um, Actually, I don't even know what the n is, but in theory, because there are times where you get into trouble because if you do it, if it takes all of n all the time, then well, it's going to take a long time because then. But there is a way to do it with like amortized O of one. But I guess I know. But you have to do like I think you have to like keep track of states a little bit or something like that. but did I just do it? I guess. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I guess that's mostly it. That's probably why it's a medium. I'll try to do it the naive way, and then if it runs to issues, then well, I'll try not to do it the naive way. Um, yeah. Okay. So we want to take the rightmost. Okay. Hmm. Is oh no, the other way. I actually have to think about what to do in. I guess you never swap two numbers that are equal because then that doesn't make any sense. But usually, no, I guess that's fair. It is a permutation. Um, sorry, I'm just really bad at signs, so I just want to make sure I get this right. So index is the last one, and then if the index is smaller, and then you increment, or like decrement in this case. Um, and index is, I guess I should check that first actually. Okay, and then now if index is equal to 0, then we return the, oh, I guess we don't return, but we just, I'm a little bit lazy. You actually just reverse in that case, but, oh, hey, Brewmasters, how you doing? Yeah, it's good to see you, as usual. Uh, oh, and also thanks for the file, look for I. Look for me? Look for I? But yeah, it's a breezy night here in New York. I'm looking at my watch for temperature, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. But it snowed yesterday. Actually, it was beautiful. I like the snowy weather. Anyway, oh yeah, and then and then return. Else we just swap. Is that it? Oh, is that it? I don't know. I guess we'll want some test cases. Oh, are you talking about like can you do that? Oh, whoops, we'll have to get it right first. But I don't fix the 511. Maybe it's something with the with this thing. Okay, that was the thing that I wasn't sure about. Oh yeah, because I have to keep on moving. Whoops. I think I got the logic, but then I convinced myself the other way. Are you talking about something like uh, something like that? Does that work? These fancy notations. Get off my lawn. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's. I mean, it is definitely Pythonic. I've seen it a lot. I just don't do it because there's no reason other than that my mind is not right now attuned to it yet. But you're right, and thanks for pointing those out as you see them. Definitely something that yeah, just nice to know. I just don't remember. Oh, nose. Um, oh, duh. I forgot to do the thing where you kind of yeah. I mean, this is silly. Okay, I have to do a thing where it in my head it's called shipping a digit because of you say boomer, but because if you use combinatorics and you count it that way. But yeah, once because now we do like essentially one iteration of like a bubble sort. But what we really need to do is take the uh, 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 how do you say it? Do the swap with the next digit. Keep calling it the next digit because that's how I figure out these in terms of like a number with a variable base in this case. But yeah, whoops. Okay, what am I doing in this case? That's an I thought I was going to test this, but I guess I didn't. Um, yeah, I mean, I've okay. So if this is the case, then for the first number, we want to swap. Yeah, I actually don't remember this. I guess a little bit too much. Um, no, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I hmm, don't know. I don't. Hmm, it's been a while, I guess. But okay, because I know how to construct it recursively, uh, and do it that way. But I always forget how to do the iterative version. Or not always, but sometimes I remember it. But today I do not. Um, but now we have to find the. I think we just have to find. Okay. To find in this instead of index -1, you have to just find the. In this case, you want to swap this with the smallest number, and then the rest of it is sorted. Um, yeah. And I'm also just trying to think if like if it's okay to use the sort function, but I guess it should be done with shifts instead. But so we have this number. We want to take the next number that's bigger than the index. Okay. So while no. Okay. So just also again try to figure out variable names. Tempted by index 2, but okay, fine. Let's just get something right, and then we can rename stuff later. Okay. While we want to take the smallest number that is, oh no, well, it doesn't have to be the smallest. I guess just the one to the most to the right, and then move it to the period. Okay, yes. Okay, so maybe. Why did I say period? That's a weird framing, maybe. Number 2 is smaller than or equals to numbers of index. Okay, and then now we put index 2 and index 1, but we don't. It's not a. I mean, I guess you could swap, but no. I guess in that case, all the suffix is what you call it. All the suffix is in reverse order. Oh, I just wish I could. Is there a way I could do a reverse on a sub portion of it? Actually, no. I guess that's a slice, so that doesn't work. But as in C++, you can, right? Because both the reverse function and sort function takes in, 2 pointers, right? The beginning and the end. But I don't know if Python has something similar. So basically, what I want is okay, actually this. And then reverse it. But yeah, you're right then that you could you could write this could be binary search for an obvious reason, as we just point out in that like it's incrementing in reverse, so you could do a binary search, or decreasing, I guess, is a better way to do it. Incrementing in recurse. Oh my god, but yeah. So then now we want to reverse. Just bring comment. Just there's a lot of potential off by once. Or index. No, it's still index plus 1 to n. Technically n minus 1 inclusive, but okay. What is like the clean way to do this? I guess with while loops. Index 3. Is that too ridiculous? I just use left, right, and then would. I think I've been too eager to use Python for loops even in places where it doesn't call for it, and that's kind of got me into a little bit of a trouble sometimes. And then, oh yeah, you do this thing. This is way cleaner though, you're right. And that, oh, it'll be good to increment and decrement. Otherwise, I keep on forgetting that when I do while loop in Python. I think I just don't, I'm not used to it. But, while index. When does that happen? Oh, if they're all small, I mean, because that should be this case, right? That's why it feels a little weird, but maybe not. Do I set up stuff right? I guess it seems like I set up stuff right. Maybe this. That shouldn't really come up. Maybe 151 case. But then it would just swap to equal one, so it shouldn't be right anyway. But okay, let's see how we're wrong, at least. Well, it doesn't do anything on the input, so that's not great. But do I have the signs wrong? While numbers. You want the next number that's bigger than it. So no, that's right. Why does that give me an index of bells? Alright, let's just print the numbers. So I know which test case is giving me the issue. Okay, so it's the second test case. Or actually the first test case. Oh, because in this case there are no numbers that are in between because let's double check. Oh, because yeah, of course, because it's looking at the last two numbers. So then this is the. Okay, I'm just being dumb. Okay, so yeah, okay. I guess I should have checked this. If index is I think I missed an if check. That's why. So let me think about this for a second. I think what I'm doing is I'm missing an if check, but so it's basically in this case. So we have the 3 and the 2, and you're like, oh, it's swapped them. That's great. But for this case, you have the 3 and the 1. Yeah, I swapped them. It's great. But okay, so I think this is actually. I think this is the only case that I don't handle if everything is already in sorted order. Is that true? Well, it's only subcase. But this should actually be greater than index. If this is Leetcode, then we just do x2 is equal to name. And we just swap the next one, is that right? Or is that too hacky? That feels a little hacky, to be honest. Yeah, it's still the wrong answer though. So that's not great. I've been off by one. Is everything else right at least? Let's go through that first. Let's take out that tricky case. So at least we kind of make sure that we're not breaking more things. Okay, so this is the only case where this is an issue. A sort of a regression testing. Let me paste this on the file so I don't lose it. Great. Okay, so this is still giving me the same answer as before because do I have the indexes right? Oh, because this should be index -1. I'm using the wrong index for comparison. Yeah, okay, that's why. Okay, alrighty then. Okay. Can n be one element? I guess so. I guess it could actually even be 0 elements if an n breaks. So I guess I don't check for that. Do they? Is that in the constraints? I guess Alright, I'll check it. Is that weird? Then now this is -1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I'm not a fan of this form because I feel like if you done it recently, then it's great. But if you're not, then you may be like me. Hey, what's up, doing? How you doing now, too? It's been a little bit. Okay, but I feel like now I'm okay. I just had the index off by once, maybe. Well, I don't think this is. I don't think I fixed it. I think that'll get me to the next place to debug. So yeah, because then now the index and the index over 2. Because I had that pointer at here instead, but so see, I still have it pointed here. It should be. Do I have off by 1 somewhere? I guess so. If index. Oh, I think I got my signs wrong now because I swapped the. I can't do a drop in like that. Okay. Well, thanks, no too. Thanks for your support. I mean, it's just been a while. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. It's also, I don't know. It doesn't really come up that much that you need to do this really. like in terms of practicing. And in the places that you do need to do stuff like this, like you would just do it recursively, maybe. I mean, these are excuses for sure. It's just that I'm rusty about it. Like I have an idea of how to do it, and in fact, what I would say is that um, like I even have the mathematical background for it in the sense that like I know how to decompose it into like a variable based number that's a permutation. I think they're called permutation numbers or something like that. Like mapping an index to or whatever. But yeah, the next on the perf, like I have a vague memory of it, like an old friend somewhere that I haven't seen in a couple of years, and I like I know certain habits that my old friend has or something like that, but I don't know exactly anymore. Like I don't know, something like that. That's my excuse. But I just had off by one, to be honest. I think this was I mean, I just had an off by one somewhere. That was because everything else I didn't really change. I just forgot about one detail, which is, I mean, it's important, but also I had an off by one, so I was swapping the wrong index. Yeah, you are right. It is not supposed to be hard. Um, but I would also say I don't know because this is almost like it's not quite a trivia question, but it's almost like a trivia question of like in a weird way. I don't know. I mean, hesitate to say like nothing is impossible, but it's almost I feel like people who you ask you these questions would ask you as in terms of a trivia and how to do it, and not necessarily make you code it. But that's like my philosophy, and there are people who don't abide by my philosophy when it comes to interviewing, which is just to kind of figure out, figure out what the person know and what hopefully figure out their strengths and their coding style and how they learn to debug and stuff like that. These are all important components. And in a thing where like they don't, you know, where they're like, oh, do you happen to know this algorithm that is a little bit maybe not that obscure, but maybe you haven't dealt with in a while, then it's a little tricky. But overall, it's good practice. I mean, I'm not begrudging it. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I think it's still good practice. I think I'm learning. It's been a while, so it's always good to kind of have a refresher course because you never know. And I would say even though it is a quote unquote well known ish thing, I mean like everyone knows what permutation is in the concept and how to apply them. Um, it is a little tricky to kind of get it right and it's not even like hey, do you know how to do next permutation or something or well do you know like how to do permutations or something. This is like a really specific hyper this is one algorithm to do one specific thing and they don't tell you how to do it. So and I would also say that on an interview, you would probably ask for a hint like, hey, I haven't done this in 10 years. I think I have some idea of a skeleton of what I want to write, but I just don't remember all the details. And, you're going to get dinged for it, but getting a little bit dinged for it is better than spending like 16 minutes debugging on an interview. So definitely something that I would mention it about. And yeah, wow, there are a lot of comments. But yeah, that's those things I would say. Uh, Let me take a look at try dragon thing. Take a look at note too. Oh yeah. Yeah, I also try not to use sword, but I mean that's essentially what I do. Oh you could that was the thing that I was half trying to do. That's kind of I didn't know you could I mean I'm learning something about Python in general and I think I actually mentioned this a little bit while I was coding it that like in C or C++ in ST in the standard library, you could sort stuff by the beginning pointer and end pointer, and that's or and reverse, I guess. So that would have been easier than doing what I did. But I didn't know that you could do assignments on slices on Python. So I'm still learning something new. But I would also say that because the reason I don't know it is because it's I wouldn't say it's rare, but when I did Python as a professionally, we try to keep things stateless as much as possible. And in that world, we don't want to do things in place as much, or we want to avoid doing things in place as much as possible. So I never got familiar with these kind of syntax. But it's something it's good to know and something that I will kind of keep in mind. Thanks for that. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say is Uh, I actually do think about it in those kind of states for the next available numbers. I don't know. To be honest, I just I haven't done this in like legitimately 10 years, maybe. And because it's like a really specific algorithm, right? I just remember vaguely like you have to move one of the smallest number up kind of thing, but I have to work it out a little bit better. But cool. Yeah, thanks for the problem. Good practice. And yeah. Um, but yeah, oh, let's take a quick look. Uh, oh man, you wrote a lot more code, but you also did stuff personally, so I guess that's fair. Is this in Java or Java E language? Uh, uh, oh, binary search. Oh, serious, that's really intense. But but yeah, I don't know. I think that's something that like I'll take a ding on the algo part, and then just make sure that my implementation is tight. Given what the interviewer mentioned it to me, that's what I would say. But overall, like even though it is technically about like I was saying, even though technically it's is a well-known form, quote unquote, and most of the time you're going to ask to implement permutation in the scope of something else. Like, hey, you have like these X items, and there's one, I don't know, like traveling salesperson type problem. Like you have to do things in certain order. So like you're probably gonna do that, but very rarely, I want to say, knock on wood for you or me, that like they'll be like, oh, you have to specifically implement next permutation this way, and you might not know how. I feel like that's not as reasonable, and that's not something that I would give. But yeah, I don't know. That's those are the comments I would say. But overall, like it's still good practice. But I think it's uh, not super practical. And I think in general, like if you and one thing that I always say to these kind of problems when I'm on an interview on both, well, I wouldn't ask them, so maybe just on one side, is that I'm like, oh yeah, so I happen to know that next permutation is in the standard library in C++, uh, and what you call it. I mean, it's similar in Python, right? It's in tools and stuff like this. So like, it's like someone asking you, hey, can you implement, I don't know, bubble sort or something, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, you may not actually remember how to implement. I mean, I actually do because I don't remember why, but it's similar to that thing where like, okay, I don't actually remember exactly what bubble sort is. So, so yeah, so I think that's the kind of weird problem where like, okay, now I usually would just do sort, and then you have to like I think for me the more interesting things about why you're learning about sorting algorithms and stuff like that is because like, well, there are different philosophies or paradigms or strategies that you get from them, right? Like okay, quick sort, there's some like divide and conquer, or similar but in a little bit different way for the merge sort and so forth. And you may see problems on like inversions and stuff like this that kind of force you to do that implementation, but also that if you have background in divide and conquer, that you could rederive yourself, right? And I think that's kind of the problem that makes it like slightly interesting, even though it forces you to implement sorting. Where in this problem, like it's literally just implement this algorithm. Where like maybe if you put it in context of like, okay, you want to do X, Y, and Z, but you can do this, then But yeah, I don't know. That's just my comment on these. But oh look, it's Larry face. But cool. Yeah, that's all the question I have for this one. Comments for this one.